A late penalty from Antoine Griezmann and a winner from the only living Sorloth in captivity give Atletico Madrid a 2-1 comeback win over Alaves. Jules, 700 games on the Atletico bench for El Cholo.
Yeah, pretty special landmark. Although, as we were saying when we were preparing for the show, you're still far away from a Sir Alex Ferguson or an Arsene Wenger. But then...
Or, I can't believe you haven't mentioned him. Who's done better in terms of games for one club than both Wenger and Ferguson?
Of course, the one and only Giroud.
It's like 1,000. Like, Simeone would need to coach another 1,000 games to get within spitting distance of Giroud.
I mean, 13 years in the job, because he arrived in December 2011, El Cholo. So if there's another... so he needs, at least another 10 years to get close to those guys. And
he's, what do you say, 54?
Yeah,
so
he was born 1970. Yeah.
He's not that old.
No.
And what I will point out, I actually went down the weird rabbit hole of going on the internet and seeing like who's managed the most games with one club and blah, blah, blah. So there's guys who are way up there. Like in fact, I'll mention our friends north of the border. This guy, Bill Struth from Rangers, this other guy, Willie Maley from Celtic. These guys were managers for like 30 years.
Yeah.
But what I do want to mention is they were the coach, but these are the guys, like they would show up to training dressed in suits with like double vested, pockets and stuff and like the stupid hat and everything. Kind of different from what Cholo Simeone does.
Yeah, exactly. Napoli stay top in Serie A as Romelu Lukaku scores to beat Roma 1-0. Gab, Conte grinds out. But how did Ranieri do in his first game back in charge?
So first on Conte, they created the chances. They never really took risks. They deserve to win. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. Yeah. This is one of those like little by bit, bit by bit, brick by brick. This is how you win the title. And I'm often critical of Conte, but I want to point out 8 of these guys were people from the Spalletti title-winning side in the starting 11. And I think that's significant because, yes, he made them spend money, brought people in, David Neres, this and that. But in the end, he said, listen, I'm here to make the guys who are already here better.
Yeah.
And he's done that. I saw crazy Claudio Ranieri. I mean, he did the classic thing, right? First game, keep it safe.
Defensive.
4-4, 1-1. Pellegrini behind Dovbyk. Everybody else defending. Dybala 3 minutes. I don't blame him for it because that's what they need.
Especially away at Napoli.
Away at Napoli, fine. But I think there's a deeper issue there with kind of the Pellegrinis, the Cristantes, the Dybalas too. The guys are supposed to, Mancini, guys are supposed to be leaders. And all the newcomers who've come in, it doesn't seem to be there's much cohesion there. Shout out to Saud Abdelhamid, who became, I believe, the first Saudi player in the history of Serie A. He played a few minutes at the end. He's got to build the chemistry with these guys, and I think some of these guys won't be there after January. And your boy Izolfi, he needs to start earning his salary.
Absolutely.
Leipzig managed to throw away the lead, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and they lose a wild one at Hoffenheim 4-3. Jules, I don't want to be mean.
No, but we should.
Could the issue here be Marco Rose?
Absolutely. This has to stop. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. We like him. He's not a bad
pleasant
coach.
Last name.
Yeah. He's not a bad coach, but this inability they have to close games out, to still be so up and down within the same game. They were still leading 3-2 in the 82nd minute or something, and then they concede twice. Ridiculous goals to concede. It's just mind-blowing. And they have a team that is better than what they are showing on the pitch. And it's not good in the Champions League. We said that. Really,
they're terrible in the Champions League. I mean, they're still third in the Bundesliga, third or fourth.
But that inconsistency is terrible.
Yeah, and do you think it's, the whole like Red Bull analytics nerds, Salzburg, look at this is how you play football, blah, blah, blah. Is this proving, have people figured this out? Or is it just that Rose is not good at executing?
Yeah, I just don't think Rose is, it's just lacking, I think, a lot of what would make this team quite special and contenders, really, as simple as that. Inter score 5 by halftime and win 5-0 away at Verona. Gab, I never thought that Joaquin Correa would be the man of the match, especially after seeing Marseille last season.
Joaquin Correa, who I think hadn't scored in like 18 months. Because he didn't score at all for Marseille last season. I'm very happy for El Tucu Correa. Yeah. First of all, because he is such a weird build for a player like this. And when he's good, he looks really good.
Yeah.
He's often not good at all. Like this was absolutely, first of all, I mean, this is absolutely dominating. He did the thing that he always does. Massive rotation, he had injuries, whatever. It doesn't matter. They go out and they destroy the opposition. Correa was unplayable. He scored a goal,
incredible
2 assists. Your boy
Thuram,
Thuram, a couple goals too. Jan Bissek scoring while lying down on the floor, which was also fun to watch. I think Inzaghi, people make fun of Inzaghi because they paid a lot of money for Correa because Inzaghi had him at Lazio and he really liked him. He's done nothing. He's done squat since coming to Inter. But if he can be a viable forward, if all of a sudden, for a team that plays a front two, if all of a sudden your options off the bench, behind Lautaro and Thuram, are Arnautovic, Taremi, and Correa.
Yeah.
You've got 3 different profiles of players. And because his natural instinct is always to make substitutions and take people off, then it makes Inter a lot better. So, I mean, I think actually Correa could be really important if this game wasn't a one-off. If he goes back to being the Marseille Correa, then he's not going to move the needle at all.
True.
Speaking of Marseille, they win at Lens. 3-1. Feel bad for my boy Joseph, but still, happy for my other boy, Roberto De Zerbi. He's smiling under his goatee.
He's smiling again. I mean, away form was never a problem for them. They have been really, really good this season. So we kind of expected, although they really struggled in the first half, Lens, by far the better team, just not taking their chances. And in the second half, Marseille, with maybe a little help from the referee, that's what they're saying at Lens, just took control of the game. Rongier scored. Neil Maupay was quite outstanding. We saw Højbjerg with a direct free kick just at the end of the game when the game was still in balance.
Would this be the half French Højbjerg?
Half French Højbjerg, yeah.
That's why his name is Pierre-Emile, by the way. Denmark, you can't claim him all for yourself.
No, exactly. Memi Højbjerg is French. So, good win for them. The problem is, unfortunately, that the next game is at home. And
it's against Monaco.
And that's where they struggle, exactly. So, let's see if they can also start winning again at home. This was way back on Friday, but Harry Kane bags a hat-trick as Bayern dominate Augsburg 3-0, and Gabi is the quickest man in history to 50 Bundesliga goals.
Yeah, so the goals came late, and 2 of them were penalties, but make no mistake about it, this was one-way traffic.
Absolutely.
I know it's a derby and everything,
yeah.
But Augsburg came there purely, I thought, to defend. And again, you don't blame them. Worked for a while, but eventually when you play that way, you run the risk of things breaking down, and that's what happened. You liked his 3rd goal, didn't you?
I mean, people made quite a lot this weekend about if you know the Bundesliga logo.
Yeah.
Where the guy is like, the ball is in front of him and he's kind of in the air. And they said that Kane's first touch on the cross from Kimmich on the right-hand side was reproducing the logo, which it isn't really. Because the logo, the ball is in front of the foot, whereas this one, the ball was coming from the side. But anyway, it's a great first touch. And then he finished it.
There's only one logo, and that's Jerry West.
Of course.
Let's move on.
Of course. Let's move on.
My boy Carlos Baleba gets sent off, but Brighton hang on to win at Bournemouth 2-1. Jules, they're joint 3rd, and they're showing that they can win ugly too. Because in my view, and you may disagree, I thought Bournemouth should have gotten something out of this game. But that Fabian Hurtzler is getting it done.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, they're riding their luck a little bit. You're right. And I think the draw is probably a fair result in there. But great goal from Mitoma, wonderful assist by Joao Pedro. And they play with so much intensity that I think it keeps them always within the game, even with 10 men. And Carlos Baleba is still very young. He will learn a lot. That second yellow is completely pointless to get. I mean, the first one was pretty bad too. And I think he will learn from it a lot. But to do it like that, away from home with 10 men, was really, really impressive.
And what I wonder about Baleba too is the other guy, Ayari, is it? The guy who came on from a couple games ago. And when I was all shocked, Baleba needs to realize, dude, I am so much better than this other guy. I am so much better than almost everybody on this team. Yeah. Certainly everybody who plays my position. I have to stay on the pitch.
Yeah. Patrick Schick scores a hat-trick as well as Bayer Leverkusen come from 2 goals down at home to beat Heidenheim 5-2. Gab, it was looking really ugly for the first half hour.
Yeah, I mean, what is it, 6 games in a row without a win in Champions League and Bundesliga games. Let me tell you how the first half hour started, right? So first, Piero Hincapié, the darling of the analytics Bundesliga nerds, the guy who never gives the ball away. He gives the ball away in his own box, and they go a goal down. Then, Granit Xhaka, the chest-beating leader, blah, blah, blah. It's on me. And Jonathan Tah, the guy who some people, again, use the same nerds, are linking to Real Madrid simply because he's out of contract. Those two guys are standing there. The guy who scored the second goal, his name escapes me right now. He moves right between them as if they're not there.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, and you think about, Xhaka, what Xhaka said after the game a couple of weeks ago when he says, "Oh, this is terrible. I need to stop now because I'll say things that'll get me in trouble." Hradetsky kind of throwing a tantrum when they had that late defeat. And you think, is this really going to go down the toilet? But no. You learn what teams are made of in times of adversity.
Yeah.
And without Victor Boniface, that's why Patrick Schick was playing. Leverkusen just turn it on. Minute 29, they pull one back, and then the rest of the way, they don't look back. I don't know what the XG was at the end. They scored 5. They could have scored even more.
More than that, yeah.
I think wins like this in some ways, okay, Heidenheim aren't great, but wins like this in some ways build confidence more than others where it's all easy for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Aston Villa have to come from behind twice to get a draw away to Crystal Palace. Jules, no wins in 5 in all competitions for our boy Unai Emery.
Yeah, it's difficult. At the moment, we set up before the international break 2, and this time, to be fair, I didn't think they were good at all. I thought Crystal Palace had a great game plan to wait for them and hit them on the counter, which they do on the 2 goals, and could have even scored more. And for Villa, it felt just like a battle and a struggle a bit to create. Rodgers is maybe looking a bit tired now. He's played a lot of minutes. Massively, lots of minutes. Then on set pieces, okay, they come back. Great goal from Ross Barkley at the end to snatch a point, but a point at home to Crystal Palace. This Crystal Palace team this season is not good enough when your aim is another top 4 finish or top 5 finish. So I think a lot of soul searching in a way for Unai Emery. The problem is, Gab, because they have the Champions League now, you've got no time for it. They play again in 2 days, or so even on Tuesday, and then they play at the weekend again. And that's why I think they struggled to stop that difficult run.
I thought actually they were better than some of the recent outings in this game. I mean, they could have converted the chances and they could have won. But I completely agree with you about the underlying things. Some of these players are looking a little bit worse for wear, and now there's this crazy run of 10 games in a month. Yeah. And I think it's really going to stretch Emery.
Yeah, and the penalty miss was obviously a massive turning point too in that game. Borussia Dortmund beat up Freiburg 4-0 to move into 5th place. All well now for Nuri Sahin?
I mean, you could look at this and say, Freiburg are a good side. They were Dortmund's peers in the table anyway. They overcame the fact that Serhou Guirassy was a late scratch. And so, they had to deal without him. Obviously, they have a bunch of other guys who are still injured. Valdemar Anton is back in the back line. But no, I don't think this is Borussia Dortmund. I'm not going to read anything into Definitely it because they're capable of shipping 5 in midweek. So the answer, no. Nantes and Le Havre are both fighting for survival in Ligue 1, and tensions are running very high.
Yeah.
In Le Havre's case also because I know, this is where I shoehorn John Texter into the show. I know we talked about how Texter's Lyon were provisionally relegated. They didn't find the money. Le Havre in the same boat as well.
Yeah.
Although they could actually get relegated on the pitch. But
yeah.
Anyway, things got ugly very quickly on Sunday.
Yeah, twice the game was suspended after the Nantes Ultras protested first during the game, in the middle of the game, or in the middle of the first half, where they threw toilet rolls and tennis balls on the pitch. And then, more importantly, the team were already 1-0 down at that time, the first interruption. Then towards the end, where Le Havre were 2-0 up at Nantes in a massive, massive game. And Le Havre are not good, Nantes are not good either. They tried to invade the pitch, to protest. The cops were there. The referee stopped the game. And then with only a couple of minutes left in added time, so they played that half an hour later when there was almost nobody left in the ground, and there would be nothing to play for because we're not going to score 2 goals in 2 minutes. So Le Havre won. There will be sanctions for Nantes in terms of fines and maybe like a stadium closure or stands closure. But the tension is massively high, and Antoine Camboire, I think, is going to stay in charge for now. But I think they haven't won in 8 now, something crazy like that.
Young Guns, that's former Paris Saint-Germain manager Antoine Camboire.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, what are the Nantes fans angry at? Are they angry at the club?
The club, the ownership, which is a long running feud against the Kita family who owns the club, but also the fact that the team
Polish guys.
Yeah, the Polish
Valdemar.
Valdemar the son and Valdemar the dad, Frank the son. Valdemar, I said to you often, who made his money in plastic surgery for every part of your body, including that part if you're a man.
Oh, it's
male
enhancement surgery.
Yeah, exactly. To get it bigger if you want.
Jared Lopez might be available soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wondering.
Right. 7 wins in a row now for Fiorentina, who become 2-0 on the road. Gab, they're also second, with a lot of teams, because it's that tight at the top of Serie A. And Moise Kane and David De Gea are enjoying their own personal renaissance. I mean, De Gea.
Yeah. What?
De Gea is incredible.
No, look, I think as long as he sits between the sticks and the guy's reflexes haven't gone. They're there. Check out, it's on YouTube. He made one double save that was impressive.
Special.
And by the way, that was a double save. That was not like the keeper make yourself really big or Schmeichel and hope for the best. That was really impressive. The ball at his feet, not so much. Moise Kean now 12 goals on the season, which is
mad.
I'm like, is this the same guy? His record is 13 goals, I think, with PSG, with Paris Saint-Germain. But I think he's gonna pulverize that this year. Jules, that defeat to Chelsea cost Steve Cooper his job. Any sympathy? And what do you think of the bookies' candidates to replace him?
I think it's never good when you're the first manager to get sacked in the season. It's not a good trophy.
He's not. Did you forget who got sacked?
Of course. How can I forget him?
You've wiped all memory of him.
No, I just wanted to mention Erik ten Hag again. Sorry, I know, Eric, you're watching or listening. To be fair, I think they have a good squad that should have done better so far this season. And okay, it's not a perfect squad, and they ship so many goals that defensively they are shambles. But I thought they would do better, and I guess it's probably right for him to get sacked. Although I would have got rid of him before the international break, so at least you get the chance to the new guy to have 10 days of working.
I want somebody to come out and explain this, somebody from the club. I know for a fact that they have a director of football.
They do.
I'm pretty sure they have a CEO as well. I know that they have the guy Top, or whatever his name is. Top's not his real name, but he likes people to call him Top.
Top.
Come out and explain to the fans why you did not sack Cooper before the break.
I know.
Because I hate it when clubs do this, right? People said, oh, well, no, because they were negotiating with somebody. Who the hell were they negotiating with? Because, I mean, these are the four guys.
They could not have waited for the Chelsea game because it was more likely they would lose even at home than not. Anyway.
But even if they'd won, if you think Cooper's rubbish, what? Like, oh, look, we beat Chelsea. All right, let's keep Cooper. Now we suddenly think he's good
but
again.
If there's an improvement, I guess you can see, okay.
Based on 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't understand how they make this. And I'm looking at the candidates, right?
Yeah.
So you have Davy Moyes.
No, thank you.
Who, it's not going to happen anyway.
No.
Graham Potter, who has been unemployed forever, so presumably it's not like you needed to wait for him.
No, but it could be him. I think it's likely to be him.
Ruud van Nistelrooy,
yeah,
I guess because of those games in charge.
Yeah, but he has applied as well, and he's free.
He finishes the job on Monday. You could have hired him on Tuesday,
True.
Right? And Mark Robbins, maybe that's the only one if you really like him, the former Coventry guy.
He lives in the area.
He lives in the area. He's local. No, and I guess he only recently was let go, right? For
Coventry. Yeah.
So maybe, but it just looks so haphazard. I don't understand. Why don't you operate according to basic, unless something happened? I mean, maybe after the game, maybe Cooper went out and farted in Top's face. I don't know.
No, that's not the case. But it'd be interesting to see. But I think they have underperformed this season. Atalanta battled Parma 3-1 away and stay second in Serie A. We say like a lot of other teams, but Gab, they are looking really good.
Yeah, a lot of other teams.
They were top until Napoli played.
They're 1 point behind. I mean, as are Lazio, Fiorentina, and Inter, of course. Ederson is playing out of his skin right now. Like, I'm not saying he's the best Ederson in the world because the City keeper's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's pretty close between those two.
Great performance, great goal.
Yeah, no. Ademola Lookman, again, looking good. The thing with them is always the intensity, and this is why they can be a little inconsistent sometimes. But as long as he keeps making all these changes, and there's 11 new Atalanta players out there, and there's more to come. Some of these guys, Scamacca is going to be back from injury at some point.
Yeah.
Zaniolo, he said he's made it his personal project to get him to get back to the Zaniolo of 3 years ago. Good luck with that. But if he does that, no. And they're speaking openly, the club anyway, about, we want to compete for the Serie A title. And so they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jules, we've had our draw for the Nations League quarterfinals.
Oh, yes.
How do you see this going?
I think this is really for one game and one game, well, 2 games, first leg, second legs, but for one fixture only, the one and only Italy v Germany, the old rivalry, the game of all games in the quarterfinals there. Okay, I don't give you much chance, let's be honest here. I don't want to break your heart already, especially with the second leg away in Germany.
It's okay, Jonathan Tah, bring it. Bring it, Jonathan Tah.
The way this Germany side has been playing. But for me, this is the best tie of all those quarterfinals. Then you've got the Netherlands against Spain, which is pretty tasty still. Even
Spain heavily favored.
Yeah, of course, especially with the Dutch guy on the bench. But then Croatia v France.
France heavily favored.
I think so. And then Denmark v Portugal.
Portugal heavily favored. So,
exactly. But anything can happen, as we know. But yeah, for me, Italy, Germany.
Italy, Germany, the 1970 World Cup semi-final, finishing 4-3. Voted the game of the century.
One of the greatest games.
It's all on YouTube. Go educate yourselves.
Mallorca beat Las Palmas 3-2 with an indirect free kick winner really deep in injury time. But got plenty of controversy over that VAR call.
So the reason I've included this in the show is I have never seen anything like it. Technically correct. Perhaps according to the rules, we can debate if the rules are right. So this is what happens. It's 2-2. Okay. Mallorca are attacking. They don't score. Vedat Murici, who's the super tall, big Kosovo striker for Mallorca, he's kind of like by the post. Jaime Mata, who plays for Las Palmas, turns to him and says, "Ha ha!" He taunts him. He's basically
exactly.
Something you see in the NFL. Ha ha! You couldn't score. Ha ha ha! Like dumb or whatever, right? You don't actually hear what he says, but he just kind of moves his arms, and you see, obviously he's making.
You can
fun
see,
of him,
he's
right?
in his face, yeah.
So Murici responds, as you do, by giving him the finger.
Yeah.
Right. VAR sees Murici giving him the finger and intervenes because apparently that's a red card offense. I'd
never seen it before.
But then I don't often see players giving other players the finger.
No, that's true.
I know obviously foul and abusive language can be.
Yeah.
So once the VAR intervenes, then he can look at Jaime Mata as well. And he says, wait a minute, Jaime Mata taunted him. Aha. Then this should be an indirect free kick because apparently you can't taunt an opponent, right?
Yeah.
I think Mata was making like funny faces at him. It's really childlike. So they get an indirect free kick in the box. It's like literally the edge of the 6-yard box. Those situations where you never score because the other team just puts 9 guys across the line, right? Well, 9 plus the goalkeeper because poor Maurici's not there. Actually, no, because Mallorca were attacking, but whatever. And somehow they score. Mojica scores. And the whole point here, it feels wrong that you're the guy who gives the finger and gets sent off, but then your team benefits.
Yeah.
This is the goal that could send Las Palmas down, which means we wouldn't see your buddy Ollie McBurney and his skin tones anymore.
And the other Scottish guy who plays for them, McKenna.
So I haven't seen this. This is an example where they apply the rules correctly. You can dislike the rules. I don't know that I want to see this too often. Yeah. I mean, I was watching LaLiga's coverage and Chapi Ferrer was saying, it's like, but players insult each other and taunt each other all the time. Like, why is this? True. I know why there's a no taunting rule in the NFL. It's because those guys could physically kill each other or end their careers and break their necks.
In the NBA, you take a technical foul when you taunt, so you get points against you sometimes for it.
I guess, but then also, don't you ever wonder like how often they just whisper things to each other?
True.
The old story of
of course.
Was it Larry Bird playing against Dr. J where like he basically kept a running count of how many points he scored?
Really? Yeah.
He's like 18-4, 21-4, 23-4, right? You hear these stories. I don't know how I feel about it. To be honest, the problem here is everybody saw the Murici finger.
Yeah.
The Mata taunt, it's just the guy making funny faces. I don't know.